I'd like to welcome you all back to the show. Today we're making food court style bourbon chicken. That's right, just like you get at the mall or at your favorite Chinese place for a fraction of the cost, and it's customizable so you can make it however you really like. We're going to start off with one medium green bell pepper and we're going to julienne that up about a quarter-inch thick on the slices. Then we're also going to julienne about a half of a medium-sized red onion, same thickness on the slices. Next, we have one bunch of green onions. You're going to cut all the way until the dark green starts to turn light green. One medium-sized clove of garlic crushed, and about a 1-inch chunk of fresh ginger. Now on to the star of the show. That is our 2 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. Occasionally, my local grocer does the boneless, skinless chicken thighs, and I love when they do it. It keeps me from having to debone and deskin them. But anyway, regardless, we're going to trim any excess fat and or cartilage that you find on these pieces. Then you're going to dice them up into about 1-inch cubes. You just want to make sure they're all uniform. It doesn't really matter how big or how small you cut them. Just make sure all of your chicken is about the same size. Next, we have our rice that we have already cooked. The key to making good stir-fried rice is for cooled rice. You can't use hot rice, so we're going to have to cool this down. Threw it in the freezer for maybe 5 to 10 minutes just to get it cool to the touch. Any longer than that, and then you start to develop ice crystals on the rice, so you just want to be really quick with that. You just need it cool. To our skillet, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of olive oil, heat it just until it starts to shimmer, and then we're going to add our chicken chunks to the skillet and begin to cook until light brown. This is the time to season. You choose salt and pepper, whatever else you feel like using, feel free. Don't feel confined to just salt and pepper. If you want to add some spice or some other flavors that you really enjoy, now is the time. You're going to cook your chicken just until it starts to firm up and get a little brown around the edges and the outside before removing it from your pan and draining any of the excess fat. To the pan, we're going to add our julienne onions and peppers, and then we're going to crush our clove of garlic, and we're also going to use our garlic press to crush our ginger. First time I tried that, worked fairly well, beats having to chop it. Next, we are going to deglaze our pan with 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. That will help get all that fond off the bottom that you see me scraping up right now. Make sure you scrape the bottom of your pan and get all that good flavor up out of there. Next, we're going to add 1/4 cup of apple juice. That is actually the flavor base of this sauce, apple juice. No bourbon at all. Then we're going to add half a cup of water, and then we're going to let that start to simmer. To that, we're going to add 1/3 of a cup of light brown sugar packed and 1/3 of a cup of soy sauce. Keep stirring, making sure to combine all the ingredients in the pan as it starts to simmer. To that, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of ketchup. Again, mix it until combined. And then I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of chili paste. That's my personal taste. I like a little spice, and salt and pepper to taste as well. Lastly, we're going to add a tablespoon of cornstarch. I recommend making a slurry. That is cornstarch and water. Mix it up real good, and then you add it in there. If not, you'll get chunks. They'll cook out eventually, but it just looks weird. Finally, we add our chicken back to the pan, stir it up real good, get all those pieces coated in sauce before covering it and putting it on the back burner. For our super basic, super simple, no frills, regular just fried rice, we're going to start off with 2 beaten eggs, and then we're going to scramble those very quickly, very lightly on our medium-high cast iron skillet before removing. To our skillet, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of sesame oil. Then I added a 1/4 cup of diced green peppers and a 1/4 cup of carrot and peas. Most grocery stores either carry that frozen or in a can or both. Either way, super simple, super cheap. Then we're going to add 2 cups of cooled jasmine rice to this mixture. And then we're going to give it a good peppering before we add our soy sauce. That's what turns the stir-fry rice darker. I made the mistake of not remembering to cut that measurement in half, so I added way too much soy sauce to my fried rice. Still came out pretty good. It was just a bit salty. You're going to give it a mix until everything's combined. I added a little bit of the sliced green onions right at the end just for a little bit of flavor and color, and we are basically done here. In classic food court style, we're going to start with our rice first as a base on the plate, and then we're going to top it with our delicious looking bourbon chicken. I assume the bourbon name comes from the color because there is no bourbon in this dish, and it does not taste anything like bourbon or anything like New Orleans. So I'm assuming it is the color is what is describing. Either way, a delicious classic that you can now enjoy in the comfort of your own home without ever having to leave. The last step before digging in is garnishing. We're going to use just a touch more of the green onions we had from earlier. And there you have it. Very classic, very simple. Bourbon chicken over fried rice. If you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe to my channel. I have tons more content coming out soon. And as always, thank you for watching.